Good morning. Exciting stuff, right? It's great to be here today, and I'm especially honored to be able to share some comments about an area that's near and dear to my heart, and arguably one of the fastest growing areas for both consumers and businesses today. And I'm talking about the Internet of Things, IoT. I've been around this industry for a while now, and as all of you guys have, you've seen the pace of change, and it's accelerating, and the technology is getting faster and better and more agile. But what I'm seeing right now with the Internet of Things is taking it to a completely different level. The magnitude of increase, the magnitude of the speed, and the magnitude and the pace that the technology is changing is unlike things that we've seen in the past. And that means there's tremendous opportunity here with these massive deployments of connected devices. It wasn't so long ago that we were talking about landline phones and the transition over to mobile devices and what these mobile devices could do for us. And now that we're taking connectivity and we're actually embedding them into devices, making them smart by connecting them, smart devices equate to smart business. And we're using these devices to help collect and share data and to really help us start experiencing life and the world in entirely different ways. IoT is changing our lives, and the potential is truly unlimited. And let me give you a few examples about how IoT is changing and touching our lives every single day. I'll start talking a little bit about the first example on here. It's healthcare and health monitoring. And we're seeing IoT being used inside and outside the clinical environment in applications ranging from devices that help elite athletes improve their performance to remote healthcare monitoring, as was mentioned before. We're connecting doctors and patients and helping improve the quality of life for people going through the healthcare system. In the wearables field, it wasn't so long ago where the wearables we were exposed to were probably your watch that you were wearing on your wrist, and if you were a little bit geeky, maybe that watch had a calculator on it too. But these days, wearables an entirely different space, right? And we're using wearable devices to do everything from heart rate monitoring, to fitness monitoring, to tracking your sleep patterns, to monitoring your daily steps and calorie levels. It's a whole different type of wearables that's being made possible by Internet of Things. Connected cars. How many out there have a car that has an embedded SIM in it today? Yeah, I see a few hands. Well, guess what? Over the next few years, everyone will have a connected car with embedded connectivity in the car. And we're using that SIM and that connectivity to help improve safety, help the performance of the car by predictive diagnostics, and also even for in-vehicle entertainment through Wi-Fi hotspots. And finally, in our homes, we are using the Internet of Things to help us monitor our homes and help us control our homes remotely from virtually anywhere in the world. And that's just what we have today, and we're just getting started. So not only is IoT helping us transform lives, but it's also helping us transform businesses and transforming the way we work. And I'll talk just about a few examples and a few key verticals that AT&T is focused around. The retail vertical. Internet of Things is changing the way retailers improve their store performance and measure that performance and how they interact with customers in real time and make improvements in real time. In the agriculture space, we're using the Internet of Things to improve uptime and extending the life of farming equipment, to make harvest seasons so that they remain on schedule and so their equipment is staying reliable for longer periods of time. In the manufacturing vertical, we're taking the inefficiencies out of the manufacturing processes to save times and reduce cost. In the energy field, we're seeing more and more the monitoring of utility meters and streetlights to help cities be more efficient with their precious resources. And finally, in transportation and the supply chain, we're using IoT to improve logistics and to improve the way that we're able to track and monitor assets. So it's about this time that I usually get the question, or at least you might be having this question at your tables right now. Okay, so is this a lot of hype, or is IoT a real business? And I'm here to tell you it absolutely is a real business. And yes, I will let the numbers speak for themselves on this one. So we're predicting that by the year 2020, we are going to have 50 billion devices connected across the globe. 50 billion, that's about 6 times the current population of people on Earth right now. And the fun thing about this, and the really interesting thing about this for all of you, is that we are just at the beginning. We are at the cusp of this this revolution with IoT. And if you think about it, most of the IoT devices that will come in the future and will come in the next 10, 20 years have not even been invented yet. So we are truly at the beginning of what's happening in the IoT space. And with AT&T, we've been in the IoT business for a long time. We've been in the IoT business over 10 years now. We have over 30 million devices on our network and counting. And we're working closely with our customers and our technology ecosystem partners to continue that growth and momentum in this space. So this is super exciting new technology that's coming to help accelerate the adoption of IoT. Not only is the IoT ecosystem accelerating and changing and growing, but the networks that support IoT are changing as well. And 2017 is going to be the year of low-power, wide-area networks. And if you don't know about this, we have a white paper that we published on using low-power, wide-area networks to support your IoT businesses. But LTE-M technology is one flavor of low-power, wide-area. And the thing that makes LTE-M such a game changer, it's these three things that I'm showing right now on the screen. The first one is that it's going to allow access to low-cost modules, significantly lower cost than what we've seen in the past. And not only are these new modules going to be lower cost, but they're also going to be significantly smaller, about 1/6 the size of the current modules that we're using in IoT devices. And why that's important is especially interesting in areas like wearables, where we've really been hampered by the size of those modules in those devices. Who wants to wear a really bulky fitness tracker or smartwatch, right? But if you think about condensing the module size down, it's going to open up whole new areas of what we can do and what type of technology we can put in these devices. The second really huge advantage of LTE-M is this extended battery life feature that will allow these devices to remain active for up to 10 years. So think about the impact that could have on devices that are in hard to reach or maybe even unsafe locations, not having to go out and change the battery or recharge the battery all the time in those devices. This is going to be a game changer for those type of applications. And the last advantage of LTE-M is its ability to penetrate in buildings, deep within buildings, and also within subterranean environments. So if you have sensors that are embedded in pipelines, or maybe sensors on HVAC equipment that might be deep in the basement of a building, this is going to help with that and will allow that connectivity to shine through. All right, so what does this all mean for you? Why should you engage in IoT right now? As I said before, smarter devices means smarter business. And businesses are getting it, right? 85% of global organizations are considering an IoT strategy right now, and that number is growing. And the reason why is exactly these reasons that I'm showing on the screen. It's everything from increased revenue, streamlining of operations, reducing costs, saving time, and increasing visibility. And I'll pause here on increasing visibility for a minute, because this is where the real value of IoT comes in. Because as much as the Internet of Things is device-driven, we always talk about the devices, it's really data-centric. And it's the data that can be collected and stored and used within the enterprise that really brings the value around IoT. All right, so let me walk you through a few examples of how different businesses are using IoT in their products today. And some of these are a little bit unintuitive, I guess I would say. The first one is a company called PerMobile that AT&T worked with. And this was super innovating and I think pretty interesting too, and a great example of how IoT is enabling us to help change people's lives. So PerMobile is a company that makes electric wheelchairs. And they partnered with AT&T on a proof of concept to say, hey, what could we do and what insights could we gain from our wheelchairs if we embedded connectivity in these chairs? And what they found is it actually provided a ton of data and a ton of visibility to how their customers were using these chairs that they would have never imagined. So they put sensors inside the chairs, and they're measuring things like the angle of the seat and the cushion pressure and the seat, the chair location via GPS. Predictive maintenance. If the tire is going to go bad, they want to know that in advance so the person doesn't get stuck. So really, it's allowing them through these remote monitoring capabilities to provide greater autonomy to the wheelchair users, and then also greater visibility into the comfort and maintenance aspects of their business. So pretty cool, right? The next use case I want to talk a little bit about is connected coolers. And when Max was up here earlier, he mentioned the Internet of Beer. Well, this is kind of the Internet of Beer, because you've seen these coolers all around, right? And these coolers, these are beverage coolers. You've seen some probably in the hotel where they're storing soda, beer, water, whatever. And it's typically not a device. When you're thinking Internet of Things, you're probably not thinking connected coolers, but we are. And specifically, what the cooler manufacturers wanted to do was to be able to track and monitor these coolers by putting sensors in them. Things like the power usage, the temperature of the cooler, which could be particularly important for spoilage considerations. And when things change, with having those sensors in the coolers, the sensors will collect the data and send it to the cooler company so they can take action immediately. This helps improve their operations. This helps, again, with predictive maintenance and catching problems before they even start. So the cooler owner knows before problems happen, and they know exactly what's going on with the state of their coolers at any time. Another example where we're seeing explosive growth within the Internet of Things is within the connected vehicle and machine space. And in the fleet space in particular, AT&T has emerged as a clear leader. We connect over 1.9 million fleet vehicles that are on the road today with our connectivity. And this type of connectivity allows data to be collected and sent and monitored in near real time. One of the really interesting points about fleet operations is that fuel costs are the main costs in the operations. And to the extent that you can control fuel costs, that's immediate return back to your business, right? And so little things like tire pressure, having the right tire pressure can increase your fuel efficiency by 20%. Idle time, an hour of idling can use up a gallon of fuel. So all these different type of metrics, some are based on the vehicle and some are based on the actual user of the fleet vehicle, can make a difference. And by having visibility into those type of elements and type of activities that are going on with the fleets, the fleet owners can make immediate decisions to either help educate drivers and change driver behavior, or improve the health and safety of their vehicles. Heavy equipment, we often don't think about heavy equipments being fleets, but in the industry, these are definitely thought of as fleets of heavy equipment vehicles. So think about equipment that's used within the agriculture industry or perhaps the construction industry. These are big machines, and sometimes they're difficult to get to. They're difficult to service. And knowing what's going to happen or what might be about to happen with these machines before it happens through the use of Internet of Things and sensor technology can really make a significant impact on these businesses and help them operate more efficiently, so they're deploying maintenance resources in a just-in-time fashion. All right, my final example today is about water management. And the water management application within IoT falls within our smart cities portfolio. But it not only addresses the water management needs of smart cities, but you can also think about water management in the context of the commercial marketplace. So think about any business that might require water management, like real estate firms who manage campus environments. Think about recreational facilities, golf courses, really any other business that's trying to effectively manage water utilization. When you're thinking about water management, leaks are a huge problem. And to the extent that you have a leak, even a 1/4-inch leak in a pipe can result in millions of gallons lost per year. And it adds up really, really quick. It's something like 12.5 gallons a minute can run through a 1/4-inch leak. So you can see why it's really important to be able to detect leaks and fix those leaks very quickly. What we have done is we've partnered with a company to develop a smart water solution that uses acoustic technology to detect leaks in pipes, which I think is actually pretty cool because apparently when there's a leak in a pipe, the water that's flowing through the pipe actually sounds different than when the pipe is intact. So what this allows the people who are controlling the water to do is when the sensor goes off, it detects a leak, they can immediately dispatch someone out to fix that leak rather than finding out about it later after the leak has either grown or has wasted a lot of water. All right, so hopefully I've piqued your interest in IoT and some of the diverse applications around how IoT is changing lives and changing businesses. And what I'm going to do now is invite two of my colleagues up to the stage, Sue Galvanic and Kevin Leonard. They're our AT&T channel chiefs, and we're going to discuss IoT in a little more depth. So Sue and Kevin.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hello.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. Good. So before we get started, and to save everyone the effort of having to look you guys up on LinkedIn, let's do just a quick introduction. If you could introduce yourselves and your role that you play within AT&T. Sue, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm Sue Galvanic, and I am with the AT&T Partner Exchange Program within AT&T, one of our 3 programs. And before I go any further, I just want to thank any of you out there who participate in one of the 3 AT&T programs, whether it's the Alliance Channel, Partner Exchange, or ACC. Thank you for growing with us. All of our programs are growing, and we're really excited about that, and we're excited that you're on the journey with us. But I am with the AT&T Partner Exchange. I am the VP of Marketing and our technology platform at the Partner Exchange, which just turned 4 years old. We just had our birthday, and that's very exciting to be up here to be able to talk about us being 4 years old.
Thanks, Sue. Kevin?
Did you have cake?
Yes.
Okay. I was about to say, first of all, Kevin Leonard and I'm Sue's peer. I run the Alliance Channel, one of the 3 programs Sue's talked about. And what I didn't get to weave in the fastball song, because I didn't want to get buzzed. And even as title sponsor, they said I was going to get buzzed if I hit the 6 minutes, so I had to stop. But when you look at the individual programs, it is not a competition. We're collaborative. We work very closely together. We share leads. We work with you to make sure you're in the right fit or multiple fits for our company. So it's all about, I was going to say that, but I wasn't invited for the cake, so I'm not so sure. Maybe we're not on as good terms. But,
yes, we are.
So that's what we do.
Excellent. So I'll start with my first question to Sue. IoT is hot right now, right? Hot industry, hot space to be playing in. How is the channel poised to take advantage of the opportunities that IoT offers?
Yeah, the opportunity is huge. There is no doubt about that. Whether you resonate with the stats that Max from MetTel shared, or you resonate with the statistics that you shared, just reiterating a couple of those. I think my favorite one is that IoT is positioned to deliver like over $11 billion of economic value by 2025, which you think 2025, but it's really not that far away. We're only 8 years out from that. And you think about $11 trillion of an economic value, that's phenomenal. And you think about 50 billion devices connected by 2020, that's incredible. When you couple that with 85% of businesses are either implementing, considering, or exploring an IoT solution. But here's the magical part of it. 75% of those businesses need or want external help to get that solution in place. And that's the opportunity for the channel, right? 75% in an incredibly quickly growing type of business, they want help. And the channel can take advantage of that opportunity like no one else. It does create some need for change and looking at business a little bit differently. But for those of you who can capitalize on that, the opportunity is just tremendous.
Great. And Kevin, a similar question. How has IoT technology had an impact on your customers and solution providers?
Yeah, great question. I mean, when I think about the solution providers in the Alliance Channel, but really I would think about anyone, whether you're in the Alliance Channel today or you're going to join, right? It's all about opportunity. Think about that growth we just saw, right? I don't care if we overestimated a little bit on the growth. Going to 50 billion devices or 40 billion devices, anytime you start growth with a B, it's a big number. But not only is it that business, it brings along so many other pieces of the business. It's about connections, it's about big data. So when you think about that, I know you're looking at it because it's growth for your business. And I think it's a natural extension of where we've been, right? In the Alliance Channel, we introduced mobility to the channel about 6 years ago. We were pretty much a wireline-centric channel. And over the course of 6 years, from a mobility perspective, it literally has become now where 75% of our solution providers sell integrated solutions. And if you look at our total production, almost 40% of our total production is mobility-based. The same thing is going to happen with IoT because it's a natural extension, right? We can help businesses get smarter. Think about that. Their core competency with IoT solutions, you can help them get smarter, smarter than they've ever been. And if they get smarter, what do? It's everything you just talked about, Lisa, right? They can increase efficiencies. They can drive more revenue streams. They can be quicker to market. There's just so much opportunity. You as a trusted advisor are going to embrace that. We know that. What we want to do is help you with it. And from an alliance channel, I know the same thing with AT&T Partner Exchange. We help you every step of the way. That's what it's all about.
I'd like to hear both of your opinions on where you see the biggest opportunities for IoT in the channel, specific verticals, if you could. Yeah, Sue, you want to start? Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so from the opportunity for the channel absolutely is in verticals, right? You heard a lot of what you talked about, Lisa, and Max, really, for that matter, talk about were the verticals that IoT can play in. And I can't think of a single vertical where IoT can't solve the problems that Kevin just mentioned. I think the additional benefit it can bring is improving customer experience or delivering a customer experience that just knocks the socks off of your customers. That, you know, as well as increasing revenue and those types of things. But every vertical is huge in IoT. There's an opportunity in every single one of them. Construction is a big one that you mentioned. Keeping track of and monitoring those heavy assets that require significant investment is big. So I challenge you to kind of take a look at what industries are adopting technology really quickly. Retail's another one. But I don't think you need to jump in with both feet and trying to create those wow solutions like the irrigation monitoring and monitoring of leaks. You know, creating one of those types of solutions. I know there are some of you out there that can jump in with both feet and deliver really innovative solutions like that. But if you're wondering where to get started, how do I get into this? I'd offer up a couple of suggestions. One would be to talk to the line of business owners at the customers that you work with. We have found that rarely the IoT solution ideas come from the IT department at these businesses, right? They come from the line of business owners, the ones who are trying to solve the business problems, whether they're the marketing department or, you know, the sales department or the finance department or the operations department. They're really who needs to solve the problems that Lisa talked about and can help you come up with the ideas. The other way to get started, again, without having to jump in with both feet and create really complicated solutions out of the door, is to start with something smaller. Whether it be a wireless WAN solution for backup, maybe you're not doing any mobility today at all, that's a great way to start to get into the mobility space, and AT&T, really both of our programs can offer that. Another one is to start with a prepackaged solution, so you're not creating it from the ground up, and AT&T Fleet Complete is one of those types of solutions that you don't have to be an expert on all the components that go into a solution. It's prepackaged for you and allows you to really work to solve customers' problems in tracking assets, monitoring the hours that their employees are working in those trucking companies, which helps them with regulation, helps them monitor the temperatures of their refrigerated trucks to comply with FDA regulations. It helps them maximize fuel efficiency, which, as you mentioned, is one of the most expensive parts of their business, with routing and you name it. And by having a prepackaged solution, it's a really easy plug-and-play way to get started in IoT.
Kevin, same question. Opportunities that you see in specific verticals?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Sue's answer was extremely thorough, so I'm just going to, I don't know, did you leave me anything?
I'm sorry. I'm sure somewhere in there.
And what I love about it is it started the exact same position I am. There are some verticals that make sense because they're a little bit more established. Fleet is a great one. Asset tracking is a great one, those type of things. Prepackaged solution. I think the way to, if you haven't done this, to jump in, that's the way to go. We can work with you on that. But don't limit yourself is what I would suggest. And the reason I say that is because IoT, to get to that growth, very quickly is going to cross verticals very, very fast. I mean, take a look at the AT&T Smart Irrigation, the one you talked about a little bit ago, so you touched on. I'll give you a little details about that to give you a flavor for what I mean by just open your mind a little bit, right? That's what we're trying to do, and we ask you to do the same. What that does is it really is applicable to any business out there who uses water, right? For irrigation, let's say. Let's just use that as an example. So what vertical is in it? I guess that's a vertical. right? Because it could be municipalities, it could be hotels, it could be nurseries, it could be golf courses, it could be, so you got entertainment, you have retail, you have, it crosses so many different industries, and it's the same solution if you think about it. We can put sensors, right, on those irrigation facilities that track everything you talked about, because it can track leaks, it can track if a sprinkler's not working, it can track the soil composition, is it too dry? It can track whether or not it's shady or not. And what it does do is it uploads, with AT&T's help, into the cloud, right, where we use big data. Max said it earlier, big data analytics, that's what it's about. It's to get that data and make it intelligent and process it back down to the business, who then can use that information. The average utilization savings of those using smart irrigation is about 40%, saving 40% of a precious resource, and the quality of the irrigation is better. So it's a better solution, 40% savings. Now think about that, and here's where IoT expands. That's just an example. On top of that, let's say it's a nursery. They have plants and they're watering it. What do they also have? They have trucks. They're delivering those plants. So the next step is fleet, right? So it's just, IoT is the thing that's just going to continue to expand, because it's what we said before. It makes businesses smarter. It makes them smarter.
That's right.
Right? And that's what it's all about.
Shifting gears a little bit, Sue, the next question is for you. Can you talk to us a little bit about the resources that are available to help solution providers deploy and really think about IoT?
That's a great question. So as far as resources are concerned, that is one of the big things that we are launching here at the Channel Partners Conference this year. We feel that the time is right, the growth trajectory is right to help you all succeed in this vastly growing space. So we've brought a few assets or resources to you through this program. One is the Channel Executive's Guide to the Internet. This is a great resource for you all to think about how solution providers are succeeding in the IoT space. It's a great resource to understand the building blocks of an IoT solution. And it also references one of the other assets or resources that we're bringing to you, which is an IoT starter kit. The IoT starter kit is a very cost-effective way for you to start to rapidly innovate and prototype in the IoT space. It gives you some of the core building blocks that you can use to test out different IoT ideas that you have, including things like a SIM card, some sensors, an LTE connection, some connections into computer systems so that you can download the data that you're collecting and just start to test out what is in the art of possible. If you open your mind up, as Kevin mentioned, if you open your mind up into the limitless possibilities of problems you can solve with IoT, the starter kit lets you really play around with some of those ideas, which I love that. I love the idea of prototyping and innovation. In addition to that, the third main asset that we've launched is called an IoT readiness assessment, which is a great tool for you to plug in some really basic information, answer some really basic questions about your businesses to help you understand where you are in that in the IoT spectrum and what you might need to do to become more ready to deploy an IoT practice within your solution provider businesses.
Great. Some good tools available now.
Absolutely.
Kevin, as we think about IoT continuing to expand, what are some areas of consideration that solution providers should be thinking about in this space?
I think we've talked a lot about them already, but the one area that we haven't talked enough about is security. So whenever you have connections and you're moving data around, that's a precious asset for a business, so you have to secure it. And when you think about IoT, all of a sudden it adds different elements that we hadn't thought of before. So when AT&T looks at IoT, what we do is we say there's really a 4-layer approach to security with IoT that we will help you with, again. And so just very quickly, it's the device layer, right? It's the sensor itself. It's the device we're talking about. How do we secure that? It's the connectivity layer, right? It's the network. How do we secure the connections and the flow of information? It's the application layer. How do we secure the application? That's analytics, the big data that's happening. And then the fourth piece is the data and the threat. It's the threat analysis layer. And we believe AT&T is uniquely positioned to solve there because of our threat platform we have where all of the data works through and we can identify things very quickly and stop it before it impacts businesses. So it's really looking at all 4 aspects. It sounds a little bit daunting, but when you lay it out, it's really very linear. We can do it. We work with you on it. We've published a guide, right? The IoT guide to internet to secure connections. We can work with you on that. So I think it's security, and as much as we can help, you also have to be that advisor to the customer, because it doesn't absolve the customer from security issues, but we can work with you on what they have to do in terms of password and certifications on the devices themselves. So it's really a team effort, but it can be done. It can be done very, very effectively, and we'll work with you on it. So I would suggest security is the one element that we all have to be aware of.
Yeah, and start with that in mind from the very onset. As we're wrapping up in the last few minutes here, I have one question for both of you. We'll start with Sue and then move to Kevin. What do you want the audience to walk away knowing today?
There are really 3 key elements that I think are really important as we think about IoT. And one is that AT&T is a clear leader in IoT. As was mentioned, we have over 30 million connected devices on our network today. We have over 10 years of experience with IoT at AT&T. This isn't a new concept for us. If you want to partner with somebody and work with somebody, why wouldn't you work with somebody who's been succeeding at it for over 10 years and is a clear leader? In addition to that, you heard about LTE-M, which is really going to help us accelerate IoT by providing things like the extended battery life up to 10 years. So that's one key element, is AT&T is a clear leader. The second key element of this IoT concept is the exponential growth. I won't belabor that because you've heard it many times over, I'm sure. The growth is real, it is there. We are solving real problems for customers with these solutions. And the third element would be that AT&T is here to help you succeed with it. Whether you're working in a reseller model like the AT&T Partner Exchange, where we have been focused for the last 4 years in helping you succeed in a reseller program with us, we will continue to do that, and we will continue to bring the resources to you to help you succeed with AT&T. So those 3 elements: huge IoT growth, AT&T is a clear leader, and we want to help you succeed.
Thanks, Sue. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, again, terrific answer. I think the only thing I would add to it is that it's not a go-it-alone strategy. It's just not. Right, it's too big, and there's too much out there, and applications are being written. When we think about smart irrigation, we partnered with HydroPoint, a firm, an outside firm, to develop that solution. So it's a collaborative effort, right? It's application developers, it's AT&T, it's you, our solution providers, really bringing and packaging a solution to a customer. So it's a not go it your own way solution. It's together, and we'll work with you across the board. I think that's what I would say. And lastly, I have to say it one more time, it's growth. It's tremendous growth, and it brings along a lot of other things. And I think if we attack it together, we can have great, great success.
Great, thank you.
All right.
And I'd like to thank all of you for your time, attention, and interest in IoT. If you'd like to learn more, as we've mentioned throughout the course of our remarks, we have a number of white papers ranging on topics from Channel Executive's Guide to what you need to know about IoT networks to security in IoT and how that fits in. So definitely stop by our booth to learn more.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.